Scary mysteries, twisted news, viper snakes, and killer Texas nurse. Terrifying cases of true crimes and strange events. Every week, Twisted News dives into two mysterious and scary cases currently happening in our world. This week, we're going to check out the chilling story of a man who used viper snakes to kill his wife, and the terrifying exploits of a killer Texas nurse. Get ready for Scary Mysteries, Twisted News. Number 1. Viper snakes. There's no murder colder than one that's deliberately planned. And while this is unnerving enough, it may be even more disturbing to know that this kind of heinous crime happened between two people who were married. In March of 2018, Suraj Kumar got married to Uthra, taking 90 sovereigns of gold, a car, and the equivalent of $7,000 US. These were supposed to be a dowry from the woman's family. It wasn't entirely indicated, but it appears that Kumar depended greatly on his wife's family, considering that he had been receiving a fixed amount of stipend per month. Problems, though, began to arise after the couple had their first child. The husband, as indicated in the court records, began to feel dissatisfied with the mental and physical disability of his wife. At this point, the man began to concoct plans of getting rid of Uthra, since he wanted to continue receiving allowances from the woman's family and keep her gold ornaments as well. Getting a divorce was simply out of the question. So with no means to split from the woman, Suraj thought killing her might be his best way out of his predicament. As is typical with any murderers, the husband had to make sure that the crime wouldn't get back to him, and so the method that he chose was a snake bite. The report said that since October of 2019, the would-be killer had been researching on Google and on YouTube different ways on using venomous snakes. His research history also revealed that he had been looking for the deadliest variety of snake that could be found in the state of Kerala. He was so determined with carrying out his murderous plan that he sought the services of a man who helped him procure the snakes. Then, on March 2nd, 2020, Suraj finally made his move. The serpent of his choice was a Russell viper, a native snake in India. Before the animal was to sink its fangs into his wife, Suraj made preparations by sedating Uthra. Once unconscious, though, he then took the viper and made it bite the victim. Luck was on her side that time, though. In what seemed to be an impossible occurrence, the woman woke up due to the intense pain she felt in her leg. She was eventually hospitalized and then miraculously recovered. This made the killer so frustrated that days after his failed attempt, Suraj once again consulted the internet to find an even deadlier variety, one that could ultimately get rid of Uthra once and for all. Even while sitting with her bedside at the hospital, Suraj was digging deep and researching online. 2 months later, Uthra was finally discharged. Suraj, bent on ending her life, wasted no time, and days after they got home, the husband once again sedated the poor woman. He then took a deadlier snake, a cobra this time, and made it bite her not once but multiple times. Having just recovered from the previous attack, the victim's body was obviously still weak to fend off the effects of the venom. So, on May 6, 2020, the 25-year-old housewife finally succumbed to the venomous bite and died. The woman's parents started to become suspicious, of course, of their son-in-law, when he immediately tried to take hold of their daughter's possessions and properties. The snake handler, who was later on arrested for his part in the crime, divulged information that led police to arrest and charge Suraj for murder. For what is now considered to be the rarest of rare cases, the man was found guilty and given a double life sentence. he was additionally made to pay a fine of 500,000 rupees, which is around 7,000 US dollars. Diabolic, ghastly, brutal, and heinous are the words the court used to describe Suraj's crime, and the public couldn't agree more. It was clear from the start that the convicted didn't really want Uthra, but married her only for her wealth. Number 2. Killer Texas Nurse. As chilling as it may sound, it's after all true that sometimes a hospital can be the perfect place for a serial killer to hide and operate. William Davis was an ex-nurse who left a trail of dead bodies in 2 of his former workplaces, the Christus Mother Frances Lewis and Peaches Owen Hart Hospital, both of which are found in Tyler, Texas. On or around June 16, 2017, a recovering patient named John Lafferty was pronounced dead as a result of air being introduced into his arterial system. Almost a week later, a senior male patient admitted into the ICU experienced what was reported to be a profound and unexplainable incident resembling stroke-like symptoms. Then a month later, 2 or 3 more patients were reported to have undergone similar stroke-like symptoms. This alerted the hospital administration to look into the matter. Then came July 26, 2017, when a man named Ronald Clark died, having suffered the same fate as that of Lafferty. Suspicion was on the rise, with residents thinking that there could be a killer within their midst. By August, Christopher Greenway was admitted to the Hart Hospital, where he got a coronary artery bypass graft surgery. The procedure went smoothly, and the patient was taken to the intensive care unit. An assigned nurse there, who had been on the constant lookout for the man's condition, suddenly told Davis to take over while he went out to get something to eat. When the nurse returned, he heard the alarm sounding in Greenway's room. Upon checking it, it was discovered that the patient suffered an unexpected neurological incident and died shortly after. Roughly in that same month, a couple other heart patients went through the same ordeal. Fortunately, though, they survived it. In November of that year, Davis was seen on security cameras entering the room of another recovering patient named Pamela Henderson. The primary nurse assigned to oversee the 64-year-old suddenly noticed alarming vital indications. The subsequent arrest affidavit revealed that she too had suffered stroke-like injuries. The horrifying incidents continued well into the following year. In January of 2018, Joseph Kalina was transferred to the Heart Center's cardiovascular intensive care unit, where Davis happened to be assigned. In just a matter of days, Kalina died after suffering the same profound neurological emergency. Christus Mother Frances Hospital immediately set their eyes on the culprit, William Davis. At this point, no one even knew that there had been a string of murders occurring between the 2 health institutions. Davis, in his part, was merely fired from his job and his nurse's license revoked. In February of 2018, Christus Mother Frances Hospital decided to contact the Tyler Police Department to look into the situation. An investigation conducted side by side by the medical team and the law enforcement unit had come up with some disturbing findings, to say the least. The doctors believed that air had been deliberately injected into all of the patient's arterial lines. This subsequently caused severe brain damage, which explains the stroke-like symptoms. Lafferty, Clark, Greenway, and Kalina were 4 of those who succumbed to the brain damage that David had caused them. With a heap of evidence stacking up against him now, the former nurse was finally arrested in April of 2018, where he was indicted on 1 count of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. While detained, it was discovered that the accused had talked to his ex-wife about his intentions behind the crimes. He supposedly did not want to hurt anybody and that he wasn't trying to kill anyone. Money was tight for them, he said, and so he would find a way to prolong the patient's stay at the hospital. By doing so, he would also get to have more overtime pay. In October of 2021, the 37-year-old was finally found guilty of capital murder and was sentenced to death. Although he wouldn't be the first healthcare professional who got convicted for killing patients, Davis might be among the first to receive the proverbial eye for an eye type punishment. The statement from the Smith County District Court indicated that the nurse will be executed in the way he murdered his patients. Perhaps for the families of the victims, there couldn't be a more satisfying form of punishment for this man. There were two of the most chilling and shocking stories around, guys. The world can be a crazy place, and Twisted News is sure to show you why. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe to our channel. Check out some of our other videos here on the right side. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.